Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Conversations in Pop Culture. And I have Morgan Berry with me, who was on my podcast 3.5 years ago,
Hi.
I want to say. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I think just to give people context here, the last time you were on, My Hero Academia, the first season, just came out. And I think the second season was just about to start. So just to give a time context from my understanding. So a lot has happened in between that.
Wow, yeah.
So I just want to kind of backtrack and give a little bit of background and introduce you a little bit. So you're a voice actress and you've done a lot of roles. And obviously, we mentioned that you were 13 in My Hero Academia. You were in Overlord, and you've been in Overlord continuously at this point, parts 1, 2, and 3. And you've been in a lot of other roles. And so, just to give people in a very brief way who didn't hear the first interview that we did, and we spoke a lot about this in that interview, how did you get into voice acting, and what's a little bit about your background?
Well, I have been acting for about 17 years now, and it started with on stage. I was involved in theater, I was in a performing arts program. I've always been a performer, I've always loved it. And how I got into voiceover was I actually ended up winning a voice acting competition that I entered in back in November 2013. And that was actually at a convention called HaberCon, and it was run by Todd Habercorn. And yeah, I competed in this competition, and the prize was an audition at Funimation. And so I thought, I mean, I'm an actor. I've been acting for years. I'm going to see if I can do this. Let's see what happens. And I won. I ended up winning the competition, and that's how I got my first, that's how I got into Funimation. And then I started booking at Funimation, and that's how I got my first voiceover role. But yeah, here I am today.
And obviously, we're going to sort of skip a lot of the voices that you have done. I'm going to talk about some of the later stuff that has happened because we went through that, a lot of it, 3.5 years ago. But I do want to touch upon it is that what is voice acting like? Just to give people an idea of how the booth works and things like that to some degree.
Well, it's different at every studio, really. As far as dubbing, there are two screens, one with a script and one with the animation. And for anime dubbing, we preview the scene and then we read from the script after we preview the scene and we record. We hear 3 beats. We hear beep, 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 and then we say our line and go from there. And the beeps kind of count us off so that we can match the mouth flaps properly.
And I bring this up because obviously, and we're going to talk about it towards the end, but I kind of want to give people a little sneak preview, is that we're in a unique situation right now in the world where a lot of people are working remotely and are in a social distancing and physical distancing component. And so I just wanted to give people that preview because we're going to talk about it due to this coronavirus in a few minutes. But before we get there, I do want to talk about the more fun side of all of this, and that's several of the works you have done. And one of the first ones I want to talk about, and we're a little bit out of order, is Cells at Work as NK Cell, because that show is an amazing show, and in my opinion, the way I feel is that that show shouldn't have happened, and I'm so glad it did. So how did you get involved in that show?
Well, for most shows, we audition. Either the studio or our agent will send us an audition. We'll audition, and hopefully we get it, and then we'll go into record if we book it. But for this one in particular, I didn't even get an audition for it. They apparently had me in mind from the start and wanted me for the role. And so that was really cool. And coincidentally, NK Cell, the character I voiced in that show, looks very similar to me, and I get that comment all the time, and it's pretty funny.
And so, what is it like to really have a director call you up and say, hey, this is perfect for you, and you are the perfect voice? Because that kind of insinuates a lot of trust in you as a voice actress to really deliver upon that role.
Right. I was honored. I was not expecting to be in the show because I had heard other actors getting auditions for it, and sometimes it's a bummer when you find that you didn't get an audition that someone else got. That happens all the time. That's just the industry. That's just the business. You don't receive every audition, and that's okay. I wasn't too worried about it, but, I was just a little bummed. That's what happened with My Hero Academia. I didn't get an audition for that. Somebody referred me, and my voice was the one they wanted specifically for that role. Sometimes you get a little lucky. Sometimes people know your voice and they know what they want, and they'll just call you in without an audition. And that's always nice because we're actors. We want to act. And also, work is nice. We love our jobs. So that's how it happened for Cells at Work. I got the email confirming that I got the role, and I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome.
And as I mentioned, I love this show. This show on paper and a concept probably shouldn't have worked, and it does work, and it really is sort of a phenomenon show that really caught fire. And what is that like? Because you've been in a few shows. My Hero Academia that you just mentioned is also a very similar show where it just caught fire and it's really popular. So what is that like to be part of something that has such fan support, for lack of a better word?
It's awesome. I'm a fellow fan of the show. I'm a fellow anime fan, and I'm honored to be a part of any show, honestly. But to be a part of My Hero Academia is especially rewarding for me. It's very special because I was a fan of the show before I got cast in it. So that was really cool to be a part of something that I was already in love with. And the fact that it has such a huge fan base is really cool. Like, I get to meet a lot of people at conventions. I get to make friends and geek out with fellow fans. It's really neat.
And going even beyond My Hero and Cells at Work, another show that's very popular that has a big fan base is Free, and you were in Free Dive to the Future as Misaki Kuramoto, if I said that right. And Free obviously is very much a fan favorite. So what was that role like, and really being part of the Free saga, for lack of a better word here?
That was really cool because it is a popular series, and whenever voice actors or any actor gets to be a part of something huge, it's a really cool experience every time. And Free is a huge series. Even though I do play a smaller role, I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
And I have a soft spot for Free because I'm big into sports animes, and I like when sports animes break out from the baseball, basketball, tennis realm, which has been the three staples in the sports anime, and this is obviously swimming. So what is it like to kind of be involved in a show that is sort of redefining the sports industry in the anime world and is branching out from the mainstays?
In all honesty, I don't watch too much sports anime shows. I'm more about the fantasy genre. But I was super stoked when I started watching Kuroko no Basket. I ended up really liking that one. So I've been giving sports anime a chance, including Free. Honestly, dude, I love being in any anime. No matter what the genre, I love it. It's fun. I get a chance to act,
And I do want to sort of touch upon that a little bit, where how much of anime do you actually consume, and what genres are you really loving and interested in that are your cup of tea?
I used to consume way more anime before I became a voice actor. Now I don't quite have as much time on my hands for that.
Yeah, well, you're busy now because you're popular, so don't rub it in.
I'm just traveling a lot and working a lot, and I love what I do. So I tend to focus on that a lot. But I love the psychological genre. I like a show that really gets me thinking. Like, I love shows with twists and turns. Like, my favorite all-time anime is Code Geass. It's incredible. The twists in the story always took me by surprise, and that's hard to do. So it's my favorite. I love it. I love a good story. And I also love the fantasy genre because, it's a nice escape from our reality,
So obviously, speaking about fantasy and psychological shows, The Rise of the Shield Hero is one of those shows that has a lot of those elements in it and has a lot of twists and turns, and not everything is as it expects, and you play Glass in that, and Glass is very interesting, and what's going to happen with Glass and things like that, and what is going on. So what is that like to be really playing that character and being in that show, as it's a really popular show?
I mean, being in any big title is a huge experience. Whether it's My Hero or Shield Hero, I'm honored either way. And I really love the isekai genre, and it's, isekai fantasy. You get transported to another world. I mean, wouldn't we all love that?
I mean, I personally love Rise of the Shield Hero. I think Rise of the Shield Hero was an amazing show. I love the complexity of Glass as a character. I think Glass, from my understanding, and I remember correctly, Glass is sort of an enemy, and we only got glimpses of Glass in the first season and towards the end of the first season. But even that, I just thought it was an amazing show on what it accomplished and the fact that it really was an amazing world it built.
Yes, I love this character. I love Glass. She is so cool. She is so powerful. And I'm excited that we're getting a season 2 and 3 for Shield Hero. And I know that there's more to her character than what we've seen in the first season. So I'm super excited to be a part of that and to show you guys what's going to happen next.
And even to talk a little bit about that, what is that like? Because Rise of the Shield Hero really caught fire really quickly, and it became a very popular show. And before the first season was over, from my understanding, seasons 2 and season 3 were renewed. And clearly, there's a lot more to Glass that needs to come. I don't want to go and ruin everything for those who haven't seen the show yet, because you got to go see it. It's truly an amazing piece of work, but without ruining too much and what we've seen, how does it make you feel that you pretty much, I think we're pretty sure on this, that we're going to have a lot more unraveling of her to do, and there's going to be more opportunity for you to voice her?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super stoked about that. And I know a lot about this character that some people might not know because people told me. When I was going in for the role, I honestly didn't have too much knowledge of where her character was going to go. So a lot of people told me. A lot of people were like, oh my gosh, Morgan, have you read the manga? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh my gosh, so this and this and this happens. And I'm like, oh my god, spoilers! So I tried to stay spoiler-free, but I know a bit of what's going to happen. And I'm just excited to see that on the big screen.
Well, we're not going to talk about it because I know things as well, because I've read the manga and it's some amazing stuff that's about to happen, but I don't want to ruin anything. And I do want to change gears into another show, and you had a role in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in Diamond is Unbreakable. And JoJo is just an amazing show in its own right, and it's a really cool role to have, the role you had. So what was that entire experience like, and just being part of JoJo? Because JoJo's been going on forever, and it's an extremely highly regarded anime and manga.
Yeah, I played a fairly small role in the show, but I know that it's a very long-running, very popular series, very big franchise. I totally understood that going into it. And I'll admit I was a little nervous because I think it was my first voiceover role in LA, and that was nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this different from Texas? I don't know. But everything worked out. I didn't make a fool of myself. I just went in there, I did my job, and they liked it, and I'm glad they did.
And let's talk a little bit about that, because Texas is a big anime hub. And there's a lot of anime between Sentai Filmworks and Rooster Teeth is in Texas. And Funimation is obviously the big one. And then LA also is very big. So what are the differences between Texas and LA, either project or how studios are conducted? Because obviously ADR and dubbing is matching flaps.
Yes. The major difference, I'd say, is there's more opportunities in LA. There's not as many opportunities in Texas. There's a lot of anime in Texas specifically because of Funimation and Sentai Filmworks. But other than that and Gearbox software, there's not much else.
And one of the projects, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's in LA, was Megalobox.
Megalobox, yeah.
And that show is amazing. It's obviously commemorating 50 years of Ashita no Joe, which is a very famous boxing manga as well as an anime. And so what was it like getting to work on that project, even in a small role? because that show has been compared to things like it's the next Cowboy Bebop, and it has all these accolations, and it has so many people who are not traditional anime fans watching it.
That was my first time working with Ezra Weiss, and he is so great. He's a ray of sunshine. He was so much fun to work with, and then later on, he ended up casting me in Miraculous Ladybug. So that was cool too, and I got to work with him a second time. That was fun. But Megalobox, the animation is gorgeous. It's a beautiful show, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
And just to talk about that, because there's so many amazing people in that, and you have people like Lex Lang in there, and the list goes on and on. So what is it like to be around people that you didn't, or be in the same show with voices and new voices that you didn't really get to experience in Texas?
I'm honored to be in this community. I love the people here. The actors both in Texas and LA are all awesome. They're just a different kind of awesome, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we know.
Awesome, but everyone also has their own ways of being awesome. And I love all of them. So when I started to really get to know the talent in LA, it was really neat. They're all great people. It's a great community.
And now I think we're going to be going back to Texas, or we might still be staying in LA to talk about SAO and the latest SAO, which is, and you're going to probably correct me on this name, but it's Alkazanation. I want to say I'm the worst at pronouncing this, but you could correct me, and you were Renly Synthesis 27.
Yes, and the show is called Alicization.
I wasn't going to get it either way, so I'll just let you correct me, because this is a hard word to pronounce. So what is it like to be part of Sword Art Online? Because that show is, I mean, the entire arc of it, and then it had the spin-off, which had a small role in Gun Gale, but just being part of this entire franchise is really cool with this character. And obviously, it's kind of dealing with an interesting topic where humanity is sort of going into as we speak.
Right, yes. I have loved Sword Art for a really long time, and so I'm honored, and I know I keep saying that, but it's true. I'm honored to be a part of it, and Alex Von David is a phenomenal director. He's amazing, and he has such attention to detail, and I love that. He cares about every line, every reaction. He cares about every little detail, and I greatly admire that. I love his directing style, and I really am honored to be a part of the Sword Art Online world. It's so cool.
And what's cool about this one is that this series in the Sword Art Online is, I think, the biggest one that has been published and written so far, where it's essentially 50 episodes. And clearly the first half of it, I don't know how much of a role you had, but you sort of shine a little bit more in the second half of this series of the Sword Art Online show. This one, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And also this one tends to be more female-centric, in my opinion, which I think is really cool because SAO obviously has had Asuna and Kirito as the mains, but in this one, we've had a lot more female characters, and Kirito, to some degree, has taken a back seat. And so I think that's really interesting in the way this one is being presented at the moment, and I'm just curious what you think on that.
Right. I mean, girl power. I love that. But Asuna is a very strong female role, and Alice is a very strong female role. I love that so much, and so it's really cool to see more of that.
And I think to some degree with Renly, which is the character you play, she's also very much shining at it. She's had quite a few episodes at this point where she's kind of had her moment.
Wait. I'm going to stop you there. Did you say she?
Maybe? I'm a little bit nervous.
You haven't seen it, have you?
You know what it is? It's slipping my mind. I've seen it. You know what it is? And in full disclosure, I'm a bit nervous. I'm a little bit scared. You know what it is? There's 3 characters in SAO that all get combined and get jumbled out in my head. And I'm obviously thinking of the wrong character here.
That's fine. My character in Gun Gale was a girl, but my character in Alicization, Renly, is a guy.
I just crossed it the wrong way, you know. Sometimes things all come out the wrong way. But anyway, now that I stand corrected, even still, it's the idea, though, that how do you feel that really kind of with Kirito taking a step back, that all these characters who normally wouldn't get an opportunity to shine do get that opportunity to shine in this anime?
I think it's great. I think it's cool that Renly got a chance to shine, and to really show that he is a badass. Everyone called him a coward. They're like, oh, you're running away, you're a coward. I mean, to be fair, he's got PTSD. Of course he's gonna run away. Of course he's scared. But he overcame that fear and he fought back. And I love that.
And what I like about this series as well is that really in the first half, all of these synthesis characters are sort of the villain. And then in the second half, they start becoming the hero. And so what is that like to really kind of have that character shift in the midway point because of Darker Enemy, and we find out more without going into too much detail that there's really a bigger evil threat that's sort of on the doorstep.
I knew what I was getting myself into because the director told me ahead of time what this character is going to go through and about their character development. So I knew all of that going into it. But it was just really cool to experience it, you know, when you're on the job. Just to preview each scene and to act each scene out. It was a ton of fun. I got to put a lot of emotion into it. And as an actor, that's all I really want to do.
And obviously SAO is going to be returning for the second half of the current arc they are on. They just ended in a very interesting way a few months ago, and they're going to be returning either in the summer or the fall. And I'm just curious how you feel that Renly is going to be impacting the way the show has gone, in your opinion, because obviously Renly has done some very interesting things.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the future holds. I'm not caught up with the Sword Art universe, but I'm excited to learn along with everyone, you know?
And now let's change gears into 3 more shows that a lot more people know about. And one of them I want to talk about, it was a short that you did, and it's the Pokemon Twilight Wings as Tommy. And obviously, Pokemon has never ever been bigger, and it's only getting bigger. So what was it like to even just have a small little part in a Pokemon production?
I'm honored. Pokemon was my first anime. It was my first obsession as a kid. Pokemon was my first love. I love Pokemon, and I'm beyond honored to be even a small part of it. And Twilight Wings is beautiful. The animation is gorgeous. So I was super stoked, and I still can't believe that I got to do that, you know, and I hope that there's more of that in the future. I love Pokemon, and I love Tommy. He's a great, cute, adorable character. I love him.
And obviously Pokemon is one of those shows that's kind of a bucket list for most anime people to do, and most people in general would kill to be involved in a Pokemon show, short, or anything. So what is it like for you to kind of achieve that bucket list item that a lot of anime voice actors want to achieve?
I'll admit, as a fan, I thought to myself, I can die happy. I'm done. I can just die happy. This is great. This is my life.
And then the second show I would want to finish up with, before we finish up with the third one, is Overlord 3 as Belir. And you can explain to me...
That's very wrong.
Okay, that's why I am horrific at names.
Okay, his name is Inferior Baliar.
Baliar. I stand corrected again. The first name's really hard to pronounce. It really is. You didn't want me to attempt to even pronounce that first name.
To be fair, yeah, you're right. The spelling of the first name is quite unique. And there's 2 different ways to spell it. So, I get ya. But yeah, Inferior.
So, Overlord is an amazing show. I find it to be what I define as a sleeper, meaning that it sort of came out of the woodwork and I instantly fell in love with it and I stumbled across it accidentally and I never heard anything about it until I started watching it, and then I heard everything about it. So what was that like? Because I don't think I'm the only one who had that reaction to it.
Overlord was especially fun because we were allowed to do bloopers. And what I mean by bloopers is it's more than bloopers when you mess up in the booth and they record it. We were able to not only keep those in as extras on the DVD release, but also we left little booth bombs for other actors. And what that is basically when instead of saying your line, you say something funny to throw off the next actor that comes in to record. There was one moment when Inferior was picking herbs in the forest, and he was with the woman he, was super in love with, Henry. And, that cliche moment when he looks at you, you're looking away. And then he looks away, and you're looking at him. Like, you just happen to be looking at the person when they're not looking. And then it swaps. Well, there was a moment like that, and finally, their eyes meet. And my line was something along the lines of, hey, you good? What's up? Like, is everything okay? But instead of saying that, I said, what the F you looking at? and just for fun, just something that wasn't in character. And so I managed to make the voice actress who came in to voice for Henry, I managed to make her laugh so hard she fell out of her chair. So I take pride in that.
And then the last one I want to talk about, and I think it's fitting to end here, is with Food Wars. Because that show is amazing. That show is phenomenal. And so what was that like? Especially the third plate, playing Reno Kobayashi.
Yeah, Rindo is so cool. She's so spunky and fun. She was a lot of fun to play. I'll admit, I went into this not knowing anything about Food Wars. I just knew it was food porn. That's all I know. I didn't really know anything else other than there's a lot of inappropriate sounds when they're eating. That's all I knew. So, I was at least prepared for that when I went in to record. But that was a lot of fun. I love the character. She's very quirky, and she's got that snaggletooth, and she's adorable. I love her.
And one of the things about Food Wars is that clearly the third plate is a pretty intense season, and there's a lot of conflict, and definitely she's in somewhat of a leadership role in the third plate, and she's starting to become bigger and bigger and a bigger deal. And so what is that like? Because in many ways she grows as a character during this season.
I already knew she was going to be a big deal, and I'm really excited about that. I am starting to love this show more and more the more I record for it, and I am excited to hopefully record another season in the future. That would be awesome.
And obviously Food Wars has been extremely well received, and rightfully so. I think describing it as food porn is the best thing ever. Is arguably the way it should have been sold. And obviously the cast is amazing in it. Everybody in that show is amazing, and there's so many intricate parts. So what is it like to be part of such a wonderful cast?
What is it like to be a part of any awesome anime? It's great.
And now, I don't want to dive too much more into Food Wars, because the fourth plate and onward and the rest of the manga beyond where the third plate ended is really great. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it. I think you have an idea where it goes, and we're not that type of show where we ruin things for everybody. But I do want to touch upon something else that's related to anime with you, and that is you are a trained singer, and you have some music on iTunes and some other platforms, as well as you have done a bunch of covers of songs from Naruto, My Hero Academia. I think you did a cover from Fairy Tail, and a few other shows. And you have a really cool Voltron parody, which I think is just funny. So what was that like, and where can people find that?
They can find that on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes or Apple Music. Just type in Morgan Berry, Voltron Heroes. Yeah, that was my first parody song I ever wrote and sang, and it was a lot of fun, really hard to write, but I love Voltron, so as a fan, I had to do it. So yeah, I love doing song covers, I love music, I love singing, everything about it. So I actually go by two names. For my song covers, I go under the name The Unknown Songbird, but for my original music and my parody songs, I go by Morgan Berry. And so you can just look that up, either of those up on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Google Play, all of that.
And obviously we got a bit of a hard deadline, and I do want to give you an opportunity to promote yourself, because obviously we are in a bit of a coronavirus and a lot of people are affected by this, and I don't know how much you're impacted as far as recording, but the con world is falling apart and you attend a lot of cons. So where can people find you, check you out, follow you on social media, and things of that nature?
I am on Twitter and Instagram, and I have a Facebook page. All of them are at The Morgan Berry. That's THE Morgan Berry. And that's my handle for everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Tumblr, everything.